I don't like it.
Welcome to the regular Freeholder meeting held on Wednesday, September 26, 2018 at 7 o'clock p.m. Have a roll call, please.
Freeholder Graham.
Here.
Freeholder Lazaro.
Here.
Freeholder Patillo. Here. Freeholder Director Rose.
Present.
Freeholder Yardley.
Here.
We all stand for a moment of silence and salute this flag, please. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, PL 1975, adequate notice is required by Section 3D of Chapter 231, PL 1975, has been made by regular mail. Such notice being submitted on January 8, 2018, from the Administrative Center of the County of Sussex, located at 1 Spring Street, Newton, New Jersey, the following: New Jersey Herald, New Jersey Sunday Herald, Star Ledger, WSUS Radio, WNNJ Radio. It's also posted on the bulletin board maintained in the Administrative Center for Public Announcements. Has been submitted to the Sussex County Clerk in compliance with said act. A motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Patillo, second by Graham. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. The agenda is approved. Proclamations, certificates, presentations. Proclamations: October Sussex County Arts and Heritage Month. October 6th is Knockout Opioid Abuse Day. I have a motion to approve proclamation.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Patillo, second by Graham. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. The proclamation is approved. Do we have that here?
Right up front.
Who would like to present that?
Okay. Good evening. My
Oh,
name's...
we just going to present the proclamation.
Oh,
We'll get
okay, I
next.
thought
Sorry.
you meant the other-
Just about
Okay.
2 more minutes, sorry.
This is a very exciting subject. We want to get out of it.
Come on. Hi. I'm glad you're here. Thank you. Before I read this award, I just want to compliment them on what they do, because what they do is very, very difficult. It's a struggle at times, and they work with very little money, and they actually bring so much recognition to the talent and the art abilities in our county. And if you've never gone over to their showroom that they have on Main Street, Spring Street in Newton, you should take a walk over there when they're having some of their exhibits, because the artwork is absolutely amazing. October 12th, they're having a big masquerade ball, which is a fundraiser, and you can buy your masks.
Yep.
I painted one halfway. And I'll tell you, I have no artistic ability at all. If there's one gift I wish I had, that was it, but I don't. So I really envy and admire at the same time people that can just take these masks and in 10 minutes it looks like something out of a beautiful, magazine. I struggled, and all I did was try to paint it one color, so please don't buy my mask. But it's amazing to watch them work. And in Apacon, we used to have the Apple Pie and Art show that we had down there. The college used to come down. They came down with their group, and we're not having it this year because I lost my volunteers. And they bring so much everywhere they go. So I just want to thank them, because they don't normally get the recognition that they deserve. And what you do here is extremely important to our county. I just want you to know that. So October 12th is that fundraiser. You can look it up on the internet. And you can buy your mask over here, and please come, because it's my first time going. I expect it to be as wonderful as everything else that you do, so professionally done. Okay, now, whereas Sussex County is comprised of 500 square miles, 24 municipalities, 150,000 residents, and hundreds of businesses. And whereas Sussex County, I'm going to make sure is blessed with the beauty of its natural landscapes, in bucolic farms, historic sites, and villages that make it a great place to live and to visit. And whereas the Sussex County Board of Chosen Freeholders deem the Sussex County lifestyle and the fabric of its community as worthy of celebration. And whereas the Sussex County Board of Chosen Freeholders, in cooperation with the Sussex County Arts and Heritage Council, plan to sponsor the 5th annual Heritage Tour in Sussex County in celebration of the many historical sites in the county. And whereas the Sussex County Board of Chosen Freeholders and the Sussex County Arts and Heritage Council encourage both state and county residents to visit the many historical sites in the county. Now therefore be it resolved by the Sussex County Board of Chosen Freeholders that the month of October be celebrated as Heritage Month in the County of Sussex. October is Sussex County Heritage Month by order of the Board of Chosen Freeholders. Freeholder Director Jonathan Rose, Deputy Director Sylvia Patillo, Freeholder George Graham, Herbert Yardley, and Carl Mazzaro. Just a little bit, Heritage Tour.
Yeah, Yves, we can do that. Would you like to speak?
Yeah, I can do
Go
that.
ahead.
So we do the Heritage Tour, and it's trying to draw attention to many of the heritage sites around the county that most people don't really realize that we have. We actually have a brochure that you can pick up. It's also available online that lists all the locations. Most of them are really small and have very few volunteers. So they really bring as many volunteers as they can together to be open for these 2 days. Many of the museums that do usually charge will reduce their fee or be free on those days. And it's just to really bring awareness to the heritage that we have in Sussex County.
Very good. I'm handing this to you. We're going to take a picture. Okay, just put your hand on that. This way. Here we go.
Great. One more. Thank you.
Okay, thanks so
Thank
much
you.
for coming.
Thank you.
See you at the ball.
Thank you. Look forward to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming, Trevor. Thank you for coming, man. October 6th is Knockout Opioid Abuse Day. To receive the proclamation of Nick Louisi, given by Freeholder Carl Lazar.
And we also have Ashley Brown from the Regional Coalition for the Health and Safe Communities of Sussex County. So she's going to also stand up here with me, because I don't like taking pictures alone.
Who's going to be doing the punching?
I don't know, I'm usually the punching bag, so.
Knock out the opioid. Is that once again, you're faced with this horrendous epidemic of opioid abuse. Been with us for years. And so I look forward to the day when it will disappear, but I don't know. I congratulate both of you for your tireless efforts in fighting this thing. And we have a proclamation here. Whereas New Jersey is in the midst of a life-threatening opiate abuse epidemic, whereas the Partnership for Drug-Free New Jersey has designated October 6, 2016 as Knockout Opiate Abuse Day, an initiative with a dual purpose to educate families of the addictive qualities of opioid pain medicines and their link to heroin abuse rates in New Jersey, and outreach to physicians with safer prescribing messages found in the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention guidelines for prescribing opiates, which include considering other therapies, setting realistic treatment goals with patients, and discussing with patients the pros and cons of opioids. And let me make a correction here. There's a typo. It's October 6, 2018. I don't know what happened in 2016. I can't remember that far back.
That's when it
Well,
started.
that was
So
the
you're good.
That was the first year. That was the first year.
Yes.
Whereas the Sussex County Board of Chosen Freeholders supports initiatives designed to raise awareness about opiate abuse in New Jersey and take steps to prevent addiction. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Sussex County Board of Chosen Freeholders has recognized October 6, 2018 as Knockout Opiate Abuse Day in the County of Sussex. October 6, 2018 is Knockout Opiate Abuse by order of the Board of Chosen Freeholders, Jonathan Rose, Director, Sylvia Patillo, Deputy Director, George Graham, Freeholder, Herb Yardley, Freeholder, and Carl Lazaro, Freeholder. I thank you very much for your hard work, and I wish you would take a minute and say a couple words.
Well, thank you very much, and I want to thank the Freeholders for the proclamation. On October 6th, the Regional Coalition for Healthy and Safe Communities in Sussex County and the Municipal Alliances of Sussex County are going to get together. It's not just on October 6th, but we have handouts that we're going to be giving out throughout the county. We're going to try to cover every town in the county with these handouts, door hangers. I have a sample if you'd like to see them. Explaining what opioids are, the dangers of opioids, and how to avoid getting into any kind of addiction situation with opioids, and where to go for help. So that's sort of the idea behind Knockout Opioid Abuse Day, just to raise awareness, to get the word out there, and to give people alternatives to treatment and, help if they need it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll get on the side. Yep. Cookies, you know.
Yes, Dad.
One more. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm sorry, we'll correct that.
Well, thank you very much. It's just the first time.
Now we have a
Yeah.
presentation by Dorian Edwards on tick-borne illnesses.
Good evening, my name's Doreen Edwards, and I'm here with a bunch of volunteers tonight. It's John and Liz Selmer, and Marty Fays, and we are longtime residents of Sussex County, and we're volunteers of the Lyme and Tick-Borne Disease Support Group. And basically, our mission is prevention through education. We are showing a very condensed version of our presentation tonight that we offer to show free of charge to any group that would like to see it and become more educated about what's going on in our communities with the tick-borne diseases. And we're hoping for some ideas at the end of the presentation, how we could move this going forward in our communities and get people much more aware of signs that they might be having issues from a bite from a tick. And any questions you may have at the end, we'd be more than happy to answer. So I'm going to ask John to take it away. Thank you.
Thank you for allowing us to give you this presentation. This normally takes about an hour and a half. I'm going to try and shrink it down to 15 minutes, so it's going to be really quick. Try and convey as much information as possible in a short period of time.
Well, the good news is Thor is moving the camera, so he's going to be televising this.
Yeah, that is good. This is serious.
Or make sure it's in focus.
We usually see an increase in ticks during the summer months, and they can be dangerous.
The number of tick-borne disease cases is increasing.
This is our Western edition. We're going to begin with a concerning new report from the Centers for Disease Control. It said infections from mosquitoes, ticks, and fleas have more than tripled in recent years. They announced this today.
Ashley Collins lives in Arkansas, where Lyme disease is rare. So when her 6-year-old daughter tested positive for Lyme last year.
New numbers from the CDC state that insect-related illnesses have tripled over the last 15 years.
The Centers for Disease Control reporting a massive increase in mosquito and tick-related diseases in humans in the last 12 years, to the tune of 200%. The CDC has tracked 640,000 bug-borne illnesses.
Blood-sucking ticks are all too familiar for many people across New Jersey.
I've been bitten by a couple myself. Thankfully, I was in Boy Scouts and whatnot, so I know how to pull it out. Parent squeezers by the head to make sure you don't leave any parts behind. But even that's pretty scary because you don't know if you can get Lyme disease or anything like that.
Matt Gerard didn't get sick, but thousands of other people did. In fact, in 2017, more than 5,000 cases of Lyme disease were reported, the most in nearly 20 years. Now, Assemblyman Eric Hotelling is co-sponsoring a bill to control New Jersey's tick population before things get even worse.
Our intent really is for all the different counties we have in our state of New Jersey that have a mosquito control commission to actually have them now include tick control in that.
People's initial reaction to the proposed legislation is positive but cautious.
As long as it's safe and not harmful to the public.
Experts say spraying large areas with chemicals is actually not a good way to control tick populations. So they say the focus should be on controlling the animals that host them, like rodents and deer.
They spray the insecticide locally, topically, in all deer, and that will kill ticks.
Alvaro Toledo is an associate professor of entomology at Rutgers University. He says before insecticides are used, a statewide surveillance effort must be done, so scientists know how many ticks and what kinds are in each area, something that until now has never been done. In New Jersey, Elise Finch, CBS 2 News.
So you can see, ticks are a big problem. They've been in the news. That last article was in the news yesterday on CBS, Channel 2. First cluster of Lyme disease cases were identified in 1975 in Lyme, Connecticut. And that's when the CDC started doing identification and monitoring of the number of different cases. Unfortunately, 43 years of controversy since 1975 on how to diagnose and how to treat Lyme disease. Untreated Lyme disease is a severe, debilitating disease, and we know people who have neurological Lyme, they also have physical Lyme, and it's completely debilitating. They can just about move, they can't concentrate, they can't remember things that happened an hour before. Give you some rough statistics. So what do these people have in common? They all have Lyme disease. And they're all battling Lyme disease. This gentleman here, Neil Spector, he's a research doctor, and he wound up having undiagnosed Lyme disease for 10 years. They wound up treating him with antibiotics. He got Lyme carditis. He had to wind up getting a heart transplant. He's now dedicating his life to diagnosing and finding new methods on treating Lyme disease. So what are ticks? Ticks are basically members of the same spider insect class. They're really first cousins to spiders. They're classified as ectoparasites, meaning that they live on a host and they suck blood, like fleas, like mosquitoes. There's 900 species, 90 in the United States, 2 of which transmit disease. These are the disease-causing ticks in New Jersey. American dog tick. Primarily, they infect people with either Rocky Mountain spotted fever or turolemia, both blood diseases. If you look at the numbers, 54 and 5, that's how many cases were identified last year. Lone Star tick. What's unique about the Lone Star tick is if it takes a blood meal from an animal and then it winds up biting you, you can wind up getting a meat allergy. And people can become very sick. And this is getting to be common in New Jersey.
Can you explain that?
You mean you're allergic to meat?
Yes, so what happens is there's a alpha-gal carbohydrate that gets into the tick's system. When it bites you, it expels that into your body, and now your immune system looks at that as an intruder. Now it starts to fight it. When you go and you eat meat, you get that same carbohydrate, so you wind up having a very bad allergic reaction to carbohydrates, to that meat and that carbohydrate. Blackleg tick, that's the guy that's responsible for Lyme disease. Both male and female ticks can transmit the disease. They can also transmit anaplasmosis, babesiosis, Poisson's disease, and Bartonella, all common co-infections. So it's not just Lyme disease, you can also get these other diseases at the same time.
So you were talking about Poisson's virus.
Yeah, Poisson's a virus, and they've seen 4 cases in Sussex, five cases in Sussex County. And Poisson is not easily cured. Matter of fact, most of the people who get Poisson disease wind up succumbing to it. Ticks go through 4 stages of life. They feed once in each stage. They start out as eggs, they go to larvae, nymphs, and adults. They take a blood meal, they fall to the ground, they molt, go into the next stage. The primary food source are mice, white-footed mice. They're the reservoir, the collection point where this bacteria is in the blood of the mice. And you wonder how big ticks are. There's 5 ticks on this. This is a poppy seed muffin. Can you see where the ticks are? There they are. So they're not very big. That's why they're difficult to spot when you have a tick on yourself. So what do ticks and dirty needles have in common? Well, disease. You can get HIV, MRSA, and a bunch of other things from a dirty needle. But from a tick, you can get up to 9 different diseases. These diseases are called co-infections. Time is a very important factor when you get bit by a tick. In 15 minutes, you can get a virus, the Powassan virus. It can take up to 24 hours and 36 hours as the tick stays attached to get these other viruses. And what happens is the tick takes in the blood and it takes in the proteins and the carbohydrates from the blood, and then it expels the wastewater back into your system. When it does that, it takes whatever bacteria it has in its stomach and it pushes that into your system. Now, it could take 15 minutes, it could take 2 weeks for you to develop antibodies to show up on any tests, and about 50% of the time, you may or may not have the bullseye rash.
How long does it take after you get to get the bullseye rash?
It can take up to 2 weeks.
Or never get one.
Or you never get one. 50% of the time, people don't get bullseye rashes. Primary source of the bacteria is a white-footed mouse. It can actually be passed through the placenta of a pregnant woman to the fetus. And that's what happened with my daughter and my grandkids. Ticks are active in virtually every month that the temperature is above 40 degrees. In some months, they're more active than others, and the nymph is really a prolific feeder. They are very active looking for meals, and meals are a blood meal. Co-infections, so there are multiple pathogens that you can get when you get bit by a tick. It's not just necessarily Lyme disease. 50% of the adult ticks can be affected with more than one pathogen. So you could have Bartonella and Babesia, and each one of those, by itself, is a problem. Getting multiples is very difficult to treat. There was a survey done by Johnson in 2014 of 3,000 patients. Mycoplasma was the top infection besides Lyme disease. Babesiosis was the second, and Bartonella was the third. This is interesting. In 2001, the CDC started gathering statistics on Lyme disease, and each one of these blue dots is a Lyme disease case. So they established the rate of 30,000 cases a year. Look at the way the numbers changed. You see more dots in 2013. 2013, they revised the numbers from 30,000 to 300,000. 2014, the numbers are going up. 2015, what they said was, well, wait a minute. These 300,000 cases are not across the United States. They're in 14 states. Roughly 1 in 1,000, 1 in 809. There were 407,000 cases for a population of 330,000, and that was in a 15-year period. Now, these are the 14 states. Again, roughly 1 in 180 people will get Lyme disease. This is interesting. Population for the tri-state area is 41 million, 225,000 cases, 1 in 184. This is even more interesting. If you look at New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania, you can see in 2016, New Jersey went up 76%. This is the one that I find interesting. 1 in 32 people, normally average around 323 cases a year. This year, they had 1,000 cases in Sussex County.
That was 2 months ago.
And that was 2 months ago at Newton Hospital.
Didn't they used to have a vaccine for Lyme?
Yes, they had a vaccine. Herb, you remember that? About 18 years ago, remember?
I got all the shots.
You did?
Yes, I did.
I got the last one.
Okay.
Why is it on the market?
They pulled it off.
They pulled it off the market because people got reactions.
Right. It was getting Lyme
want to
upgrades.
fight the lawsuits and the cases, so they abandoned it and discontinued it.
Because there is a class action suit now coming up for that.
For people that had a reaction?
Yes.
Yeah, the reactions are varied, they're not serious, but, you know.
There's a research
Money
group in
pit.
France who's trying to develop a new vaccine, and apparently they're making headway, but it's not going to cure people who already have Lyme disease. If you look at this in a different relationship, you can see how many people, each person is 10. You can see New Jersey, in Sussex County, we have a higher infection rate than the 2 other counties that are close to us. These are the 14 states. New Jersey ranks 9th. You can see all these other states, and it's based on population and number of cases. Prevention, typically use DEET, use permethrin, spray your clothes, let it dry overnight. Those are the best approaches. If you're going down a path, try and walk down the middle of the path. Don't go where there's brush. Permethrin, I spray my clothes with it. When I go outside, my wife says you look stupid with it. I wear long sleeve shirts, I wear long sleeve pants. Ticks, they like to go into high grass. Tick bites don't hurt. Ticks are sensitive to carbon dioxide and movement. They don't have eyes, they don't have ears. But what they do have is on their front legs, they have what's called howler organs. Those organs are sensors that allow them to pick up movement and carbon dioxide. So they can identify a host where they're going to get a blood meal up to 3 feet away. And they normally don't go any higher than 6 to 8 inches off the ground. They don't come out of trees unless they get picked up with the wind and blow with the wind. Crawl time, it can take anywhere from 15 minutes to 2 hours to go from the ground up to your neckline in an adult. In a child, it could be as quick as 5 minutes because they're shorter. Ticks can crawl very fast once they're on your skin. They like to go where there's moist areas, the neck, the groin, ankles, the chest, waist, back of your knee. So where is the federal government spending their money? You can see this. Look how many cases. Look how much per case. Look how many cases. Look how much money per case they're spending on malaria. Something's wrong on where this money's going and what they're doing. So how do you identify what a person has chronic Lyme disease? This is what people who have chronic Lyme disease are dealing with. together to show people what my daughter goes through, and that's everything that you saw there, she goes through every day. And so far, in the meetings we've been going to, I've met 5 people that all have similar symptoms. So Lyme disease is not something that is an illness to joy. It's a serious problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I just have a minute or two? Marty Pace.
Well, Marty, we're
40
gonna-
years in
we're
this
gonna-
county.
Marty, we're gonna ask you to sign, right? Is that
No, he's part of the presentation.
Part of the presentation.
Anyway, Herb knows me, I've been here 40 years and he's still in Stillwater. Couple things, if you look in that packet that we gave out, you'll see a card and it says the support group. Okay, I'm also on the network up in Pike County and the Sussex County. We raise money to help people with Lyme disease. But if you look in there on a, you'll see a business card, like, is it in there? No. Okay. Did you get one? Okay. Look on the back of that card. That's the most important thing. On the back of the card is a list of labs that are certified labs for not just Lyme disease, but all the co-infections. Many people have had Lyme 20 years. Herb knows that. And I've been suffering on and off with this disease. The biggest part of the problem is that it took me 6 or 7 doctors to go to before they found out. They told me I was nuts and everything else they told me. But there was a doctor in Newton here, Dr. Roland Johnson, and his family said I could mention his name. Probably some of you know him, okay? He was a rheumatologist. He took the time and found it in the fluid at my knee, not in the blood test. So it's very important that you send it to the right lab, and there's also a little plastic bag in there. The biggest thing what we try to do is get people, if they take the tick off, send it out to be tested. Now, East Stroudsburg University will test the tick. They charge for it, but they will test the tick. And you can, one of your neighbors just had it done. You know Mr. Pepe, right? Joe Pepe? Joe got bitten by a tick. He sent it up to East Stroudsburg. It was negative for Lyme or the co-infections. You don't have to do the 2 months of amoxicillin or doxycycline. So it's really very important to take the tick and send it there. What we were talking about is, it would be nice in Sussex County, is if we, because the doctors are split both ways about the IDSA, which is Infectious Disease Society, says this is the standard, this is what we do. You get this blood test, you do the ELISA test, you do that's it, bingo. And the other side, the ILADS, which is in the Lyme Disease Association, says, wait a minute, you got to do more extensive tests. You got to do a DNA test. So they split. The problem is, in Sussex County, we really don't have a Lyme literate doctor yet. We have Dr. Garrison, who's over in Milford, but we do not have a Lyme literate doctor in here. We used to have one.
Dr. Vickery.
Who?
Vickery?
Dr. Vickery, but who's the guy with Skylance? He was years ago. He was Dr. Kane. Dr. Kane was really years ago. He treated a lot of Lyme patients, and Dr. Johnson. But we really don't have one here. Besides that, if we can get people to send it in and get it tested, that's the big thing. Cape Cod is we're a tourist area here, okay? We don't want to scare people and send them out. No. In Cape Cod, what they do there, if you have a tick, they have it all posted on all the trails. There's a tick drop-off where you drop it off with your name and everything. They test it for free, okay? And they get back to you. And you know who pays for that? All the businesses in that area in Cape Cod. So they don't have to get taxpayers' money for it.
Do you have the address of where you send this to?
Yeah, it's right on. It should be on the back of that card.
On the back of the card?
No, there's the business card.
There's
East Stroudsburg University?
The top 3 are for blood tests, the bottom 5 are for testing ticks.
Ticks.
What's the typical cost on sending a tick out?
$50.
Yeah.
It could be as much as $100.
Right.
But the typical cost is $50.
Now, the big thing is what we do here, if we could do it in Sussex County, if we could do something with the college this was brought up to me as a suggestion by an employee of Sussex County, which was good. If we could do something with the college, with their health department or their health nurses, whatever over there, and take the ticks and make an agreement with East Stroudsburg University, maybe we can get something going here where, you know, I don't know. It's just, it's an idea, it's a suggestion, it's something maybe to look into. Because we really haven't. I go around the barber shops and I give them all the literature. Because when they do buzz cuts on the kids in the summertime, when they hit the tick, they tell the mother. They take it off and they throw it in the trash. You go to the doctor, he takes it off and says throw it down the toilet.
Marty, can you just comment on the tick drags?
Oh, tick drags,
And what they
okay.
found?
We didn't drag here, we dragged in Milford. In Milford, there's like 5 locations, basically the parks. Tick drag is just nothing but a big sheet. You drag it along the ground or the grass, and it picks up the ticks. Takes a track to it, picks it up, okay? This is interesting. In Milford Borough, we did a tick drag, and it was like 26 or 28 ticks. 18 of those ticks had Bartonella, which is cat scratch fever, another name for cat scratch fever. We went over to Damon's 739 up there by Gold Key and that, and they did another drag, got about 50 ticks, 1 Bartonella, and the rest, and maybe 20 Lyme disease. Within that 10-mile difference, that's how big a difference it was between a co-infection, which is Bartonella, and Lyme disease. Now, Bartonella, you say to a lot of people, even some doctors, Bartonella, yeah, what are you talking about? Okay, I have it again right now, and it came from fleas. I got bit by some fleas. I was someplace where I got bit by fleas. So, the thing of it is, you can have that, my Lyme test could be negative, negative, negative. You don't test for Bartonella, and Bartonella can really affect your nervous system and neurological. Herb knows, I'm sorry Herb, but I gotta use you because with years, he knows one of the gym teachers at Stillwater School that retired, and as soon as she retired, she had terrible seizures. And they went for a year trying to diagnose her. And they finally found out it was Lyme. And the golden years are not golden anymore for her. And that's it, because she was a real mover, shaker, and they're just not there. She's forgetful of different things. So, you know, it's a serious thing. I'm not going to say anymore, but if there's any way, we would love to do presentations. We did about 4 or 5. We did a lot of seniors. We're doing one tomorrow in Branchville. We'll be glad to do it. It's more than this, what you saw tonight, but gives them a good idea, but don't scare them. If you educate them, that's what they do in Pike County, and they're not commissioners over there, they're freeholders. I mean, they're not freeholders, they're commissioners over there. And I'm on that Pike County Task Force, which is just a volunteer group, started by one freeholder, and they love it, the people in the area, because we don't take any money from taxpayers. We're part of the county, you know, as a volunteer, and the people love it.
You know, ultimately, if I just chime in for a real quick
Any
minute,
questions?
is that we would love to be able to set up something with maybe a liaison from your board and other boards, maybe some from the county college, maybe from the health department, because folks, this is an epidemic and it's not going away. And unfortunately, we really have to address it. And I just want to give you this card because you said you didn't have a card. So thank you very much. And we do presentations. And if anybody's listening out there, there's a number you can call, 201-213-4178, to set up for some presentations. And if you ever need support, if you have the disease and want to talk to somebody.
That is also a hotline number, and I answer the hotline. This is very low budget, okay? I answer the hotline, and for about a year now, and I'll tell you, the people, I sit in my car sometimes and tears come to my eyes. People, I have no idea who they are. They call me, they give me their name, and they say, oh my goodness, how could you possibly have this kind of pain? How could you have this? How could you have that? And you know what the other key thing to this is that the family members, because a lot of family members really don't, doctors and other people say, oh, I had that Lyme disease, yeah, it's not a big deal. And they boo-hoo it, and then the person goes through that alone. So it really is It's really.
Yeah,
If I could just.
Can I just say
Go
one
ahead.
comment about the tick testing? There's a lot of controversy about tick testing, but when you look at the advantage of getting the tick tested is, when I go into the doctor, if I have Lyme disease, I have symptoms. The symptoms, a lot of the symptoms are crossed into each one of these different infections. So how does the doctor know? He's got to do a blood test. Well, if you had the tick and you had the tick analyzed, and it said it had Babesia, Bartonella, it gives the doctor a heads up. So not only do you do the clinical presentation, he also looks at the blood results and the tick results and says, okay, here's how we're going to treat you. We're going to do pulse therapy. We're going to give you 3 different antibiotics, alternate them on different days. Without that extra information, he's just got to basically go on your symptoms. So there is an advantage to getting the tick tested.
Herbie, you want to say something?
Well, first, my son had misdiagnosed and had some problems over the years. Lyme disease takes on many different forms, neurological and misdiagnosed as arthritis and all of those things. Grandson was just recently bitten. I was bitten a while ago, and the doctors tend to look at this and say, here, take the regimen of penicillin, and sometimes they're very good, sometimes they're not, sometimes the Lyme doesn't go away. So I think there is cause for us in our county to make sure the information is getting out there. And I do know, I want to say that the Mosquito Commission and Public Health Nursing, they have done presentations. They've done presentations here, and the nurses have done presentations around the county. Marty Thays, he's a hell of a guy, I've got to tell you, because he has stuck with this, taking a lot of abuse over the years of being a pain in the neck and this Lyme thing. What?
You can use the other word.
And he stuck with this. And Marty, I want to say, I give you a lot of credit. A lot of people would have at one point said I had enough because people did not want to hear it. And Marty, I want to say, keep up the good work, because Lyme disease is something that does affect us here in Sussex County. One of the problems that Marty ran into when he approached the county was he had an idea where on the county website that you could put a place, I don't know if you remember this, maybe a place where you can get information, or you could send to places that would test ticks. And basically he was told that you couldn't do that because you can't pick one place over another. I think that I'm going to ask council if we could look into something where we don't just put the information from them, but if we can get information where people, if they want to test a tick, it's on the website. And I don't really care if it's out of state or anywhere, but when you're looking for stuff, what do? Sometimes if they come to our website, they'll say, oh, I could go here to have that tested. And I don't think we're necessarily saying this group or that hospital or whatever, or that school is better than anything else. As far as the college, I think, it doesn't hurt to go over and talk to Dr. Holly and see what you can do. But the Lyme disease problem, one of the problems with people that have it is you don't see it. You just don't see it. And it's like many diseases that we have, I'm not equating it with mental illness, but mental illness is one of those things we don't see. It's another disease that people don't see, and so you don't understand. But I appreciate the work that all of you have done, and I want to say, Marty, keep up the good work, even though at times there were those people, I don't want to include myself, that said, oh my God, here he is again. But you've done a good job, and appreciate it, and I think everybody appreciates that.
One thing that we could use your help on, Marty and I have been talking about having some kind of a workshop with a presentation and have medical providers at the college. So we would advertise it, we would do the presentation, we would have Q&A with the medical people, just so we could raise awareness in the county about Lyme disease?
I think the medical Sussex County Medical, I think there's a medical association, is the place to really go for that, because they do have meetings with the doctors, and that's kind of a captive audience, and maybe you can work something up where they'll get continuing education credits, which guarantees that they would come.
Herb, you have to get a doctor. Dr. Ligner, you know Dr. Ligner.
Yep.
He used to come to my presentation under our schedule. And you need doctors to invite doctors. Lay people, like they don't hear it. What he told me one time is they had a meeting, and he said, take that movie, put it on the corner, plug it in, put the tape on, click, start showing it, get out. I did that. You know, there was like 4 or 5 doctors I went and looked at it, because I wasn't there, which is good. I don't really care. The main thing is okay. But what you're saying about doctors is true. Up in Pike County, there's a microbiologist up there that has like 5 or 6 doctors that they call it they call it a club, but it's not really a club. It's another word for, you know, getting together to get education. But to get credits, doctors will say they don't have time. But you know what? He has it on a website up there, so you can just go home 15 minutes on a website, or not on a website, whatever they do. I'm not into that. But they go and they talk to each other, and you know, they get it. It's good. It's good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank you very much for that.
Yeah, I'm going.
We have no public hearings, public session report. Please note, everyone is asked to keep their minutes, comments to 5 minutes or less, and only address the issues regarding agenda items, followed by a 3-minute response time for the freeholder report. Please state your name, print your name, municipality, and sign a sheet. Can I have a motion to open the floor to the public? Move it open. Motion by Graham. Second by Patillo. Discussion. All those in favor? Those opposed? The ayes have it. The floor is open to the public. Please come up and sign your name in and state your name and town of residence.
Hi, I'm Mary Bellwood. I'm from Frankfort Township, and I'm here representing, I am the community educator for Ginny's House Child Advocacy Center, and I represent them on the Human Services Advisory Council, and I'm going to give, it's a very brief overview of what the HSAC has been working on. About a year and a half ago, I came and I presented about the Missing Children and Abused Children's Task Force, which I chair. But I'm going to give you just a very general overview, just to keep you up to date on what we're working on. This morning was our 7th meeting of the year. HSAC will be presenting in the, participating in the first biannual Sussex County Education Partnership Training event to be held on October 24th. This event will focus on educating school personnel and staff with identifying early warning signs of mental illness in their students. The HSAC will have a speaker on the agenda and will also have member resource tables set up throughout the event to provide literature and available resources information. During the months of July, August, and September, HSAC and its various subcommittees continue to focus on planning and developing strategies that allow for better allocation, provision, delivery, and finance programs designed to meet the needs of human service recipients in Sussex County. The Homeless Coordination Committee continues to work on a strategy that will strengthen its mission of planning and coordinating the delivery of emergency services to the county's homeless population. The committee has also begun the countywide 2019 point-in-time survey, and as you're aware, that's one day where they go out and try to locate all the homeless families in Sussex County and get a statistic which is submitted to the state. The Human Services Advisory Council approved the Child Abuse and Missing Children's Committee recommendation to provide, and we're a flow-through for state funds of $2,500 in grant funding to domestic abuse and sexual assault intervention services known as DAISY, to host a conference that focuses on the relationship between child abuse, animal abuse, and domestic violence. New studies have indicated that those three disciplines need to be working together, that when there's violence in families, it can result in any one of those disciplines needing to be looking for the other types of abuse that can be occurring there. This conference is supposed to be the kickoff point for a task force that will meet on a regular basis to see how we can address these three issues in Sussex County together. And I also wanted to share with you that last year we looked at populations that are at high risk for child abuse, and we decided that homeless children, we wanted to do something for them. And when you think about it, these are the kids that are being asked to sleep on the couch at relatives and friends' houses, and they are extremely vulnerable, and their parents are too stressed out and busy to really observe what might be going on with them. And so we divided the money between Samaritan Inn and Family Promise, our two programs that address that issue. They each purchased materials that can be shown to families going through the system. They bought videos for children, educating them on personal safety, as well as materials advising parents. This never even crossed their mind that their children were vulnerable to this. So this gets them talking and thinking about it and coming up with strategies. So we were really excited about last year's program, and we're looking forward to this year's program. The HSAC continues to recruit new members in order to maintain and bolster its ability to meet the needs of human service recipients in Sussex County. And finally, we just want to thank the Freeholder Board for their continued support of our organization. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Could I just ask a question?
Sure.
When you're talking about this educating the school personnel, who in the school comes to this?
Well, we send out invitations to the entire school, so we're hoping that there are social workers and child study team people as well. You know, each school, it'll be the vice principal, different schools.
Do you get a response from them?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah, they are getting a response, and it'll be held at Project Self-Sufficiency, and it's during what would normally be our HSAC meeting. So most of the HSAC members will be there, and we're hoping to get a big attendance. It's hard to get teachers out of the building during the day, it really is.
I know, but that's great. Thank you for doing it. Thank you for everything.
Did you sign it?
Yeah, I
Okay,
did.
thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the public? Seeing no one from the public, I have a motion to close the meeting to the public and resume regular business. Motion by Lazaro, second by Patillo. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Floor is closed to the public. Freeholder comments. Freeholder Pergelli.
I would like to say, we had an interesting freeholder meeting with the VOTAC and the college, and I hope everyone goes and reviews that tape. I did attend Healthy Living Festival Fair for seniors, and that was a great time. They
Kind of late now, isn't it?
What's that?
Healthy living?
Oh, healthy living, yes, those days have passed me by. Was it misspent youth? So I want to say that if this could be advertised a little more, I mean, it was well attended, but there was everything from balancing blood pressure, dexterity, skin cancer, diabetes, glaucoma. I mean, there's so many things, memory loss, and yet they give you a passport and you go around, you have to get things stamped. It's a great opportunity for mental health programs, and they have a whole bunch of people from Newton Medical Center, Eye Physicians of Sussex, Senior Services, the Health Department. A lot of people are there, and this goes on at least every year. This is the 12th one. It's very well attended and very good. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder. Freeholder Carl Lazaro.
Okay, I have a couple things. I'm going to be brief except for one issue. The county striping program has been completed. The 35 locations throughout the county have had new striping completed and done. We're done for the year on that, as well as the paving. There's a couple of minor jobs that are still outstanding, but the county road department has done an outstanding job this year in getting our roads in good shape, and you'll notice as you drive across them, there's been a lot of repaving and a lot of work that's been redone. So kudos to them for their fine work and their dedication to making sure that people can get around in Sussex County in and out. And then now the snows come, and you'll appreciate them even more when the snows start to come. The Popicating Bridge is proceeding on schedule. If you've been up there in Sussex and seen what they've done up there, that's been all ripped out. New footings, new steel work has been put in. It's a pretty massive undertaking, and that's an outstanding thing to watch, and very interesting to watch them do that. I'm going to spend the bulk of my time, the rest of my time, covering an issue that's been very near and dear to me, and that as every day goes by, I get more and more angry about it. New Jersey Association of Counties had its meeting a few weeks ago. One of the main issues that came up, and nobody's here today to hear this, that preaching to the choir. The 911 funding in New Jersey is a sham and a disgrace and a shame. New Jersey will now, if the federal government has its way, be ineligible, ineligible, for $115 million in 911 grant funding to upgrade public safety answering points, otherwise known as the PSAPs. Now, if you don't think that's important, picture yourself walking across your living room and grabbing your chest and falling to the floor and having I can't breathe, and an elephant is sitting on your chest, and you tell your son to go and call 911, and he dials 911, and he's going, my mom or my dad is laying on the floor, and the phone gets interrupted because the PSAP had a disconnect, and they have to call you back because they got your number, and you've lost 3 to 5 minutes of an emergency response getting there because your PSAP isn't up to date and isn't upgraded with the most latest equipment, and in fact isn't set up and be in line with a national or a state grid of PSAPs that's going to interconnect with everything. Well, that's because your state took the money and used it for something else and not for the 911 systems. And your phone bill every month, every single phone in the state, in the country, contributes 9 cents every month. Just imagine, your children have cell phones, you have 5 cell phones for your kids, 2 for you and your husband. That's 7 cell phones in your house, all contributing every single month to this fund. It's a huge amount of money. Well, New Jersey is going to be ineligible next year for $115 million in 911 grant funding to upgrade public safety answering points, otherwise known as PSAPs, with next generation 911 capabilities. The Federal Registry is now putting out, and this is so embarrassing, new regulations that will require the states to use the money for 911 services that they were already required to do. And they haven't done it. They used it for police cars, for all kinds of other things, but not for 911. So you've been paying from your tax bill, from your county, and from your telephone bill 3 times to the 911 system. And the money that you're spending isn't going there, except for your local tax money. So no taxing jurisdiction in the state will be a recipient of 911 grant funds if it has diverted any portion of designated 911 surcharge money for any purpose without being there. As a direct result of the state of New Jersey's decade-long diversion of 911 fees, county and municipal governments across the state will be ineligible to receive critical 911 monies from the federal government. The local state is now trying to recover from this. Past governors and past legislators have all been complicit in using this money for other uses, current federal law authorizes states to establish their own definitions of eligible 911 expenses, which has led to the widespread diversion of fees across the nation, with New Jersey as the #1 offender. It is well documented that the state diverts an estimated 89% of the $120 million in surcharges it collects each year as 911 system and emergency response fees, and of which deposits into the 911 system and emergency trust fund account. The state has collected approximately $1.3 billion, that's with a B, dollars in fees since 2006, with 11% of the fund being spent on eligible expenses, as recently reported by the FCC. The state has failed to provide any funding for eligible expenses to local 911 centers operated by counties and municipalities, and has instead diverted fund dollars to cover general operating expenses in the Department of Law and Public Safety.
Terrible.
I don't know what else to say. And I've been saying this for 2 years, and no one wants to follow up on it. It gets ignored. Now the federal government is passing a 911 Fee Integrity Act, which is on the books now, has not been passed yet, to prevent states from diverting funds meant for 911 services, $1 billion of which has been lost since 2009. You see, we've gotten so complacent as a people that $1 billion means nothing anymore. Okay, so the government lost $1 billion. We'll go on and go get my milk and bread and eggs and not worry about it. It's $1 billion in 911 funding has been wasted and it just spent away. So now the federal government is going to come in. Unfortunately, New York, New Jersey are the #1 offenders, along with Connecticut. In New York, 41% of the fees are diverted to the state general fund. I'd be embarrassed to admit that.
Even God's angry.
What?
I said even God's angry.
Yeah. And he should be. He should be. And nobody wants to take up this, and nobody wants to follow it. Just let it go. Doesn't matter. Well, now the federal government, I would be embarrassed as a state legislator and as a state official to know that the federal government has to get the paddle out and spank you for not doing what you were supposed to do with the money. And they're all complicit in it. It's not one or two people. It's the legislature and the governor. They all found other places to put that money, which rightfully belongs in the 911 systems, because that's what it was generated for. So if anybody wants any more information, I'm happy to help you out with it. I've followed this for years, and I am just aghast at what's happened with this, and it doesn't seem to be changing at all. And we keep spending the money, and now we're going to raise new revenues and new funds to just waste more away. Government's inefficient. That's all I have. I'm sorry. Thank you for letting me rant.
Thank you, Freeholder. Freeholder George Brown.
I'm still in awe. I love when Carl gets gone on a rant. Love it. Well, it's fresh in my. What's that spooky music?
There's some strange sounds.
It's for you. It's her. He's spooky.
Usually, just doesn't do that.
That's really creepy stuff. Well, I have a couple things to say, but I'm gonna tag on a little bit what Carl said here, because it's more egregious even for Sussex County. All that Sussex County's received is approximately $65,000 in that 10 years. So when we're paying 3 times, and we'll check out that number, but it's pretty close to $65,000. When you take a look at that number that we're paying on local PSAPs, countywide PSAPs, and what's coming out of your phone, you're paying it out of your property taxes twice, and you're paying it out of your use tax on your phone once. So you're paying for it 3 times. And when I was at NJAC, it was the same thing. But it crosses party lines, because I had some of my most effective support going against this misuse of dollars from freeholders from Hudson County and also freeholders from Monmouth County. So it's money that gets buried someplace in a lot of different uses, but it's not going to where it belongs. And so I'll applaud you, Carl. Keep up the good fight, because you've only been doing it for 2 years.
It's early in the game.
Yeah. I also want to make a comment regarding what Herb said regarding the meeting that we had last week regarding the college. I would also urge people to do exactly what Herb said, and that is look at the video. Please look at the video. It was we spent 2.5 hours. I think it's well worth. How long?
Almost 4.
All right, well, I was awake almost 2 hours. No, I'm only. It was a 4-hour meeting, and it was a very vital meeting, and it's a very important thing to know that this board, to the person, supports the curriculum that's being put forward. But there have been some questions as to whether or not the financing is being done, and how are we going to find out how that financing is come about. I want to just talk quickly on Department of Health and Human Services. It is a flu season. Best way to find out where our flu shots are is to go on our website and just look up under flu. It's really clever. Sussex County, you go up www.sussex.nj.us/flu. We have clinics for those 65 and older, and on 65 and under. So it's not a matter of age, it's a matter of where the locations are. We have clinics in Hopatcong, Wantage, Sandyston, Sparta, Franklin, and Freedom, and that is just in the next coming month. NJC, Women's Health Screening. The NJC is for women's screening on a number of different things. That is at our Public Health Nursing Office at 201 Wheatsworth Road in Hamburg. You can go on our website. You can call our number at 973-579-07. Oh, excuse me, 973-579-0570, extension 1246 to schedule or obtain more information. Medicare Part D, annual and open enrollment. This is a very, very important feature that we have, and it's a primarily it's a volunteer program. We do have some support through it through the what we call the Sussex County State Health Insurance Assistance Program. But between October the 15th and December the 7th, you have to enroll in your Part D. Right, guys? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm just looking over. To those that may know. And these folks help you get through it. There are a lot of different options, and there are a lot of people that can help you. That's done in this building. And there's other locations around the county. Again, 579-0555, and somebody can help you through that, or go on our website and notify us. I just want to talk about, since we were talking about ticks before, which I'm still scratching. There were 49 reportable diseases diagnosed in Sussex County just from the 1st to the 20th. 34 of those 49 were Lyme. That's a pretty high number. Tick-borne diseases were most frequently reported communicable diseases during this time. Ticks are active in the outdoor environment now, so the disease numbers will increase through the fall. There continues to be a sharp increase in the number of tick-borne diseases reports since the spring. We also had 16 domestic or wild bite reportings in the county, of which 3 were bats, 9 dogs, a cat, a groundhog, a squirrel, and a hamster that just couldn't keep his hands to himself. Our Health and Human Services Department is stellar. It really is. It's top flight. We are, not only are we doing what has to be done, but we are very much listening to what we need to do to improve. A lot of that started when Herb was Health Department, but we have the Human Services Department and the Health Department have merged into, I think, a fine organization. I'm very proud of everybody who works there, and I'm more proud of them when I see them at an event listening. They're not just telling the information, but they listen, and then they bring it back. Every month we have a call-in for our municipalities. If they choose to call in, I'm very glad that they do. We usually get somewhere between 10 and 15 municipalities that call in on a regular basis. But I just wanted to do, as I always do, show that I'm very appreciative. Thank you.
I know you're too young to be concerned about this, but
Carl.
seniors should also be aware that when they go get their flu shot, you get the pneumonia shot.
Oh, yeah.
And if you've had a pneumonia
No, yeah,
shot,
no.
get the updated pneumonia shot.
That's true.
That's very important, because when that hits you, it puts you down. I'm sorry, thank you.
Thank you. No, I like to hear from the other generation.
Me too.
Yeah, touche.
You wouldn't understand.
Thank you, Freeholder. Freeholder Deputy Director Sylvia
Yeah, I
Phillips.
just want to say how thankful I am for the presentation you gave on ticks. My husband was bit by a tick. It took forever for them to figure out it was the tick. It affected his heart. He ended up with a pacemaker. The electrical part of his heart is gone. I don't know how he was alive during the time that he decided he wasn't going to go to the doctor. You know, it took him so long to go, and then the doctors, we had 3 or 4 of them, couldn't find out what it was. They couldn't diagnose him, and then finally they did a Lyme test. They found a dead Lyme, and then an active Lyme. And it was those 6 months of going through the treatment and dealing with those doctors was very difficult for everybody. But he made it through. But I'd like to talk to you if you would stay just a while afterwards.
Sure.
I'd like to talk to you about that, and thank you so much for what you're doing to get the message out.
Thank you.
I want to talk just on one thing, and that's that the Department of Health and Human Services is going to have another forum, a public health forum. It's going to be at the Sussex County Community College on Thursday, October 11th, from 8 a.m. to 11. It's for municipalities. If mayor and council people are working, they can't come, send a BA or send someone else that could come. What we're trying to do with all of these forums, this is actually our 3rd forum this year, is to get the resources out to the people who are with the people. So if someone comes into your town hall and they have an issue, you will have a packet with the number and the resources that we have. I didn't know, and I've been mayor for 9 years, I didn't know half of the things that we offer here. I really didn't. The depth of this organization is absolutely amazing, and the staff is phenomenal here. But I know in our municipality, we use the county as needed. So there were other things that I could have used the county for, that at that exact moment it wasn't needed, but we could have gotten the word out on so many different things. I just didn't know we had those type of resources here. And all the 501s that they work with, so if we don't have it with the county, we can go to one of those 501Cs, and they come in and they have all the things that are offered here. The young woman that was here talking about working with the mental conditions with the campaign to change direction, we had a whole forum on that. It was excellent. We spoke about it. We had speakers there, gave a great deal of information on how the towns can handle that. Today I was at another one of the meetings called No More Whispers, and that's the campaign to change direction, which is now involved with our spiritual leaders, all the different churches, on how they can handle it with the congregation. So what we're just trying to achieve is to get information out to municipalities. So if municipalities have not signed up yet, I would encourage them to do so. And I'd ask them to register so we know how many people are coming. That's what I have to say.
Thank you. Approval of consent agenda. Freeholders, please review the consent agenda. Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Sussex has reviewed the consent agenda consisting of various proposed resolutions and determined that the adoption of the said resolutions is in and will further the public interest. If any freeholder would like to remove an item to be considered separately, please do so now.
I'll make a motion that for the acceptance of the approval of the consent agenda as presented.
Motion by York.
Second.
Second by Phil. Discussion.
Yes, Mr. Do we take one vote on this? Or
Yes.
go item to item?
No, no.
I don't do that.
The discussion is on the entire thing and the vote will be on the entire thing.
Yes, Mr. Director, the first resolution 10A allows for the submission of a renewal of a grant that allows for cancer education and screening programs that are provided to low-income residents. Resolutions B through letter E are the insertion of various grant revenues and the associated appropriations to be placed into the county's general budget. Resolution F provides for the purchase of additional mobile license plate readers and recognition software to the Sussex County Sheriff's Department. Resolution G provides for the purchase of 3 Chevrolet Impalas to the Office of the Prosecutor, which will replace older, higher mileage vehicles. Resolution H provides for the purchase of a street sweeper. And Resolution I provides for the purchase of a hook loader for the Division of Public Works. It replaces an older unit that has increasing maintenance costs and was scheduled for replacement. Resolution J will provide the county with the ability to apply liquid de-icing materials at one of our garages, which is part of a larger program to reinstitute the use of liquid de-icing materials throughout the county. K reestablishes our relationship with the National Park Service for the providing of de-icing materials out of our Layton garage. The next resolution provides for the execution of an extension of the fiscal year 2018 Title 4D reimbursements between the state of New Jersey, the Division of Family Development, and the County of Sussex, which provides reimbursement for certain services rendered by the Sheriff's Department. Resolution N is the authorization of the collective bargaining agreement with PBA Local 138, the Sheriff's Unit. It's just been under attorney review, but this is an agreement that was agreed upon this past June. The next is for the acceptance of federal funds and the distribution of those funds for payment in lieu of taxes as listed in the resolution itself. And that concludes the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Ball. Any further comments?
Make a motion to approve.
No, it's already, there's a motion, second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Freeholder Graham?
Yes.
Freeholder Lazaro?
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rose?
Yes.
Freeholder Yardley?
Yes.
I have a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting held on September 12th, 2018.
So moved.
Motion by Lazaro, second by Patillo. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, the minutes are approved. Appointments and or resignations. Resolution regarding appointment of Joel Servas as the Sussex County Representative to the Lakeville Packland Commission, appointment of Thomas D. Solaro as the Sussex County Alternative Representative to the Lakeville Packland Commission, with terms commencing immediately and expiring December 31st, 2019. Do I have a motion to approve same?
So moved.
Motion by Patillo.
Second.
Second by Graham. Discussion.
The Lake Commission has different seats assigned to different towns, one to the state and one to the county, Sussex County. And apparently Sussex County had appointed the member but never appointed the alternate. So that's what this is for. It's for the alternate. Joel Service is the member. So this was the name that was sent to us by them.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Freeholder Graham?
Yes.
Freeholder Lazaro?
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rose?
Yes.
Freeholder Yardley?
Yes.
Freeholders, please review the resolutions, and when satisfied, please make a motion to pass same.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Graham.
Second.
Second by Lazaro. Discussion. Mr. Bond?
Yes, the first resolution allows for the reclassification of monies that were identified in the budget as county matching funds for grants to the appropriation special child case management. The next resolution establishes maximum weight limits on certain bridges as recommended by the county engineer. And the last resolution is the freeholder support of the corridor management plan of the Western Highlands Scenic Byway, which the freeholders will recall. We had a presentation a number of weeks back by the group out of Vernon and the Department of Transportation consultants that are working on the implementation of the Scenic Byway.
Thank you. Any further comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, all resolutions pass. Awards of contract, change orders, bids. Resolution regarding award of contracts for supply and delivery of non-OEM automotive and light-duty truck parts to various vendors from September 26, 2018 until September 25, 2019. Have a motion pass same? Motion by Patillo.
Second.
Second by Graham. Discussion. Do we have a list of suppliers, in particular Campbell Supply in there? Just want to confirm that one of my customers is not one of the vendors. I'm going to abstain if they don't feature.
Would you like to see the package?
Sure. Apologize for not checking it.
The primary vendor is Northeast Parts Group LLC.
Yep, thank you, I'm good. Any further comments? Roll call, please.
Freeholder Graham?
Yes.
Freeholder Lazaro?
Yes.
Freeholder Cotillo?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rose?
Yes.
Freeholder Yardley?
Yes.
Financial, can I have a motion to pass a resolution regarding payment of bills, bill list A?
Move to pay bills A.
Motion by Lazaro, second by Patillo. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Freeholder Graham?
Abstain.
Freeholder Lazaro?
Yes.
Freeholder Cotillo?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rose?
Abstain.
Freeholder Yardley?
Yes.
Can I have a motion to pay bills from bill list B?
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Patillo, second by Lazaro. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Freeholder Graham?
Yes.
Freeholder Lazaro?
Yes.
Freeholder Cotillo?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rose?
Yes.
Freeholder Yardley?
Yes.
Introduction, first reading, ordinance providing for the adjustment of library fines, fees, and sale of surplus library materials for the Sussex County Library System. Can I have a motion?
So
Pass
moved.
same.
Second.
Motion by Patillo, second by Graham. Discussion.
This is recommended by the library director and has been reviewed in detail by the county's chief financial officer. The purpose of this is to adjust the fines, fees, and sale of surplus materials consistent with the director's recommendation.
Thank you. Further comments? We have a motion on that. Roll call, please.
Freeholder Graham?
Yes.
Freeholder Lazaro?
Yes.
Freeholder Cotillo?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rose?
Yes.
Freeholder Yardley?
Yes.
Could I have a motion to authorize the clerk to advertise this resolution as introduced for first reading and also post same on the bulletin board in the lobby of the County Administrative Center today, together with a notice of public hearing stating that a hearing will be held on October 10, 2018 at 7:00 p.m. prior to final adoption of this ordinance?
Motion.
Motion by Graham.
Second.
Second by Patillo. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. The motion passes. Personnel, resolution regarding authorizing personnel agenda September 26, 2018. Have a motion pass same?
Motion.
Motion by Graham, second by Patillo. Discussion.
These are job changes that require freeholder approval. Includes an upgrade for position in the library, actually two upgrades in positions for the library, one promotion in the library, and then a promotion in central and shared services.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Freeholder Graham?
Yes.
Freeholder Lazaro?
Yes.
Freeholder Cotillo?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rose?
Yes.
Freeholder Yardley?
Yes.
Administrative report.
Thank you very much. I had the privilege of attending the International City and County Management Association conference, just having returned this afternoon in Baltimore, Maryland. I attended a number of classes starting Sunday afternoon through this morning, including classes on performance measurement, where I actually met one of my colleagues from Schoharie County in New York State. He and I are going to be working on a performance measurement project together. And then also had the opportunity of attending some sessions concerning unleashing the potential of the leadership potential of teams and individuals, as well as a class on leadership in turbulent times. And also just to advise the board and the public that we are working on the development of the 2019 general fund budget and currently scheduling meetings with the various departments and the budget subcommittee.
Thank
Those
you.
are my report. Thank you.
County Council report.
Nothing.
Thank you. Any unfinished business? Any new business? Public session from the floor. Please note everyone is asked to keep their comments to 5 minutes or less, followed by a 3-minute response time from the freeholder board. Please state your name, print your name, municipality on the sign sheet. I have a motion to enter into public session.
So moved.
Motion by Lazar, second by Graham. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. The floor is open to the public. Seeing no one from the public, I have a motion to close public session in terms of regular business. Motion by Patillo. Motion by Patillo.
Second.
Second by Graham. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, the floor is closed to the public. Executive session, closed session. A resolution regarding providing for an executive closed session not open to the public in accordance with provisions of NJSA 10:4-12 et sec. Whereas the subject matters about to be discussed may be excluded from the public portion of the meeting by resolution of the Board of Chosen Freeholders and exceptions to the quote Open Public Meetings Act and quote pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12b. And whereas it appears necessary for the Board of Chosen Freeholders to discuss such matters in executive session, now therefore be resolved, the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Sussex in accordance with provisions of NJSA 10:4-12b and NJSA 10:4-13, that the Board at this time enter into an executive session from which the public shall be excluded, and be it further resolved that the general nature of the subjects to be discussed relate to the following items authorized by NJSA 10:4-12b as designated below. Matters related to litigation, negotiation, and attorney-client privilege, specifically update on various legal matters. Be it further resolved that the deliberations conducted in closed session may be disclosed to the public upon the determination of Sussex County Board of Chosen Freeholders, provided by law that the public interest in no longer be served by such confidentiality. And be it further resolved that upon completion of the business for which the board has entered into the executive session, the board shall reconvene and resume its meeting open to the public. Can I have a motion to approve same? Motion by Patillo, second by Lazaro. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Freeholder Graham.
Yes.
Freeholder Lazaro.
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo.
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rose.
Yes.
Freeholder Yardley.
Yes.
We will return from executive session, but the public should be aware that we anticipate no further action except to close the meeting after returning from executive session.